Pantry, and as you see in the title, we're gonna make a delicious Italian dish. Now, disclaimer, I'm not Italian. I am not going to claim that this is authentic by any means, but it's my version of it, and we love it. We love it. So, what you're gonna need is either a thinly sliced flank steak, and inexpensive. You could actually do this with pork, but you want like 1/8 of an inch thick. And I'm looking here before I get started, what do I need to do? And I'm gonna do my Braciole first. And so those of you that have been watching, I bought London broil and I got slices like this. And so we're gonna put this down and we're gonna make our Braciole out of this. And these are about 1/8 of an inch thick. If they were thicker, then you can pound them out. And I'm gonna give you just a couple examples to begin with, and then we'll move on. What I've got over here on my cutting board, one cutting board, here is a bundle of fresh parsley. I may or may not use all of it, but I've got that there. I've got half of an onion out of my garden, so good. Made me cry though. I've got a nice bundle of spinach chopped up pretty fine. And then in this bowl, I have olive oil and about 15 cloves of garlic. Now these were smaller cloves, they're from my garden, but you want a pretty fair amount. You want about 1/4 cup of garlic, and that's gonna be for 6 of these Braciole. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna stuff this, and then we're gonna roll it up, tie it off, or you can use toothpicks. I've got both. You're gonna sear it. I'm gonna saute my onions though with some additional garlic, and we're gonna sear these pieces, and I'll bring you in close for that. And then we're gonna deglaze the pan with some beautiful red wine and simmer it in a gorgeous homemade marinara. So, and the marinara has additional olive oil in it because that's how I make my marinara. It's fantastic. So first thing I want to do is put a little bit of the garlic. You want plenty, honestly. So I'm going to kind of eyeball splitting this 6 ways because I've got 6 of these. So 6 ways to be. And the garlic cooks while this is gonna braise in the marinara sauce, and it'll braise for an hour and a half maybe, and a little less than an hour and a half, and the meat becomes tender. And typically it's using a cheaper cut of meat that would be tough. If you cook London broil for very long, it's tough because it's very lean, and so it doesn't lend well past medium rare unless you do it this way. Then it's delicious. Okay, so I've got my garlic down, I've got my the olive oil, I've got my salt and pepper. Almost forgot the salt. You want to season it pretty good because this is your chance. We're going to put some parsley, fresh parsley, no powdered stuff. And there's a ton of different ways. Some people stuff these with a stuffing. Oh, and I forgot my cheese. I've got to get my cheese out. Oh. Okay, we want some spinach in here, and I'm going to scatter, just a handful. You don't need you can certainly put as much as you want. Sometimes I put pancetta in this, and it's delicious as well. So let me get my cheese. Okay, so I've got my cheese, and this is a Italian blend. Now you could use any kind you want. You could use just Parmesan. You could use Romano and Parmesan. This is a blend of Asiago, Romano, and Parmesan. And you want plenty of cheese. This is also going to add some salt. So when you do your salt and pepper, go lightly on your salt because you don't need a whole bunch. And just cover that up. And look at how pretty they already look. I'm excited. I'm going to get my stuff out of the way so I can roll this up. And again, 1/8 of an inch thick is perfect. So you're just going to roll this up. Try to keep your stuffing in. And oh, I'm super excited. And these are individual. Now, if you were doing a flank steak that you've had the butcher slice like a steak, as thin as they can get it and pound it out, or you can slice it yourself. You would want to go ahead and pound it out a little bit, but you'd make one big roll. And sometimes family style, that's how you would do that. So you can go ahead and tie it off. And it's up to you whether you want to do, I'm showing you both ways. You want to do string, or you want to, you don't want to tie the strings too tight though, because if you do in the cooking process, your filling will want to expand out. So just to hold it in place. That's all you want. Perfect. And I'll cut those ties. And then, so basically that's what you have. Perfect little package. Individual portions. I've got these, so we'll have 2 of these each. Well, we've got enough to have 3. It'll depend on how. And then I'm going to make a pasta side dish to go along with the marinara and what's in the pan. You've got the fond from the meat and the red wine, and it just really makes for a nice dish. So on this one, I'm going to show you how to toothpick. And I just kind of go back and forth like I'm sewing. And you want to warn your guests that there's toothpicks in there. And I try to lay them this way. If they're sticking out, it's hard to brown all sides, and you really do want to brown all sides of your meat. So there's 2. We're going to get the rest of these made, and I'll bring you back and I'll show you. So guys, I've got my Dutch oven, and this is a Le Creuset cast iron enamel Dutch oven. I'm just going to make sure, I've got some olive oil down here, and make sure we've got a little sizzle before we start adding stuff. I preheat my pan before I put oil in. That's a little helpful hint, I think. Especially for stainless, you need to do that. So we're going to go ahead and get our onions and our garlic down here. And if a little bit of that spinach goes in there, I don't care, because I'm probably going to put some of it, and I know I'm putting all of the parsley in my marinara. So I might save that leftover spinach for some omelets tomorrow. Ooh, yum. Okay, so we need to just really sweat this. You're not doing much more than that. I've got some salt and pepper we're putting down. Help that sweat a little bit faster. And just layer those flavors. Woo! Smells amazing. I don't know what smells better, and I could have used a whole onion, but because I'm only doing 6 of the Braciole and a quart of my home canned marinara, I'm not going to use too much onion. And you could put this down in any spaghetti sauce you happen to have, so don't feel like you can't do it. And then the beauty of this is this oil is also going to sear our meat. So when I've got the translucent part started, which I do right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place my meat down. I'm going to turn my fire up a little bit because we want to sear these on all sides. And I tied string around all of them except for that one I showed you. So just in case you didn't have string, don't worry about it. Get those in there and don't touch them. Let them sear. You want a little bit of a brown crust on this because that's going to add some more flavor. So I'll bring it back when we're ready to turn them. Okay, so I've got my Braciole started. I don't want to burn my onions and garlic. I've got a good brown on all sides. You're going to add a good cup of red wine. Now, you want to keep the fire hot so it can deglaze the pan. Oh my gosh, that smells amazing. Look at that. And as this boils, it loses, it burns off a lot of the alcohol. And if you don't like wine, use beef stock. If you're not you're against having alcohol in your beverage, but it's gonna deglaze all that fond off of the pan, which honest and truly, all that is, those crispy bits, is flavor. Oh my gosh, doesn't that look good? So once I feel that all the fond is come up off the pan, give it about, 30 seconds or a minute, and you're gonna add your marinara. And when you talk about wine, use a wine that you would like to drink, because it's going to be important, because that flavor of that wine is going to be left in your dish. So if it's a cheap, inexpensive wine, you're going to get a not so good. Okay, so we've got my quart of, look how beautiful that marinara is. We're going to go ahead and put that down. And I'm going to leave this uncovered for the first 45 minutes because I do want it to reduce down, but I don't, because it's really going to be too liquidy right now with the wine and the marinara. I want it to reduce down a little bit, and then I'll cover it because we want it thick enough to put over a pasta sauce or a pasta without being pasty, if that makes sense. I'm going to add my additional parsley right now, get that off my board. And there you go. Oh my gosh, does that look wonderful? And if I had some fresh basil, it would go in at the end, but I don't. So we're gonna go with this. So this is just going to, I'm gonna turn my fire down so we have a low simmer. And we're gonna let this go for the next hour. I'll be back in 45 minutes to kind of show you. So if you can remember how liquidy this is, we're gonna let that evaporate off. And it already smells amazing in here. This is gonna be so fantastic over some spaghetti. All right, and a big salad. So guys, we are done. The Braciole has had a chance to marinate it, and you can see how much the sauce reduced. I wish I would have made twice as many, honestly, but that's okay. We're gonna dish this up. I've got a side salad, and I'm gonna put this on a bed of spaghetti. So I've got my spaghetti down on Michael's plate, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the Braciole down. I wanna make sure we know it's a side of meat there, and there's strings there to cut off, so you can cut them off before you serve, which I recommend, but I'm gonna let him know he can do it. And we're gonna go ahead with the sauce down over, and the sauce has had a chance to reduce, and it's honestly, it's phenomenal. I'm not gonna tell you a lie here. It is delicious. It's had a chance to get thick, and that's what you want. Now, if your sauce starts out thick, go ahead and leave the lid on and don't let it reduce, but ours did not. It was a little thinner because it's home canned. So we put a little Parmesan on the top, and I'm gonna show you a bite so I can taste test for you. So this is what it looks like, a cross section of it when it's cut. And I've cut this for you and gone ahead and let it cool so I could actually taste it. But unbelievable. I'm gonna grab some more of his sauce. Oh, I'm so excited. Guys, this is delicious. Unbelievable. The garlic has a chance to cook, but yet is very face forward in this dish. So if you're not a garlic lover, you wouldn't like this, but it is fantastic. So I'm gonna serve this right now and let my husband enjoy it. And guys, I hope that this inspires you to go ahead and try this dish. You can try it with any kind of meat you want. Next time I do it, I'm gonna do it for you with either elk or venison or a pork, so you guys can see a little different version of this, because really all it is rolled meat that you've pounded really thin or you have sliced thin. So hope it inspires you. I hope I see you next time. And guys, go make some Braciole. It's delicious. Bye.